Well, we're at the end of another trading day here on this Thursday, day 8 of the Iowa State Fair. Talking right now with Aaron Thiele of agmarket.net. Aaron, I know at the beginning of the day, overnight, first corn and soybeans were both up pretty nice, and then soybeans backed off a little by midday. What did we see here finally at the end of the day in the grains?
Yeah, we saw a finish backed off. Like you said, we saw a strong trade throughout the day, but then backed off here into the close. Corn ended up 3 to 4 cents higher, and then beans were mixed with the front three contracts lower, 1 to 1.5 cent, and then deferred all the way out to March and May. Soybean contracts were up half a penny to a penny. So a little bit of a different trend, pulled back a little bit and weren't able to sustain all the buying that we had seen around the open.
Now, with the Pro Farmer Crop Tour going on, I know that some of those numbers haven't been what we were expecting them to be. Is that putting any kind of pressure on it? I know they were in Western Iowa yesterday. They're doing the Eastern two-thirds today. They finish up in Minnesota tonight. I know Illinois' numbers weren't the greatest either. Is that kind of what's been forcing its hand right now?
Yeah, absolutely. The Illinois number, I think, was really surprising for everyone. They came in, their projection for the bushel or for the yield was around 184 bushels per acre. I think they do have a calculation where they add some to that just based off of the area where they're at. That gives a little bit of a different, but still a little bit more for a yield, but still much lower than expectations and much lower than what the USDA has it for projected this year, which is around 212 for bushels an acre for Illinois. That, along with Western Iowa being lower, obviously the state has been in a little bit of drought and hasn't been able to catch all the rains that the eastern part and other parts of the state has. They had seen that the crop wasn't as good, and so I think when you put those numbers out there and the market sees that it is trading, and it's trading that, and that's part of the reason we're getting some of these higher prices.
It does make you wonder. I mean, we know USDA is making estimates, but we were talking last week, and some folks at agmarket.net, and the whole thing is finding 3,000 acres, 30,000 acres is one thing. Finding Delaware is another. And when you have the numbers off that far, it makes you question when you're seeing numbers coming from field scouts that are widely different as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the difference, I think that their last report they were doing, their information came from technology and from satellite imagery, which is a lot different than these guys who are getting out in the fields and getting their hands on the crops and getting to see firsthand what it looks like. The one thing about them, though, is that they are only seeing select areas of the state. And so I think that's part of the reason why they have some final calculations that try and give a more accurate representation. And we'll get to see that tomorrow afternoon. When they come out with their final yield projection. But yeah, it is a little bit of a different process and than what the USDA does with their yield projections.
Okay. So moving over to the livestock side of things, let's start with cattle. How are things looking there today?
The cattle market finished mixed today. Feeder cattle, the front 2 months were down anywhere from 20 cents to $1.50, but then the deferred contracts were able to pick up some buying and close anywhere from 60 to 90 cents higher. Fat cattle, August live fat cattle were down 7 cents, but then the deferreds and contracts after that were up anywhere from 70 cents to $1.10. So mixed trade. We saw a little bit of a sideways trade. We did see a pop there midday around 11 or 12, and saw some good trading and some higher prices with some more buying, but we weren't able to sustain that into the close and ended up backtracking and closing mixed on the day.
And I was looking at the cash sales numbers. Some started popping up in Nebraska yesterday, and they were lower again. Is that a trend we might be seeing for a while, especially with all this jockeying around with some of the processing plants?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of fear in the cattle market right now. The board's been selling off, and it's been kind of in a downward trend. And then when you take off a packing plant like Jocelyn that processes 3,000 head of cattle a day, I mean, it's not good for the market, and it's got a lot of fear going on. And so, to see the cash market stabilize or be 225, I think is what we traded yesterday, is you could take it as a positive sign that we're not even lower, but there is a lot of uncertainty about what's going on right now. I know people selling their calves on some video auctions are still, it's nothing to scoff at, but it maybe isn't as good as they could have sold, a month ago. So just a lot of uncertainty, and the question is what's going to happen. The port opens Monday, and then we'll see how that goes.
All right, and then moving over to the hog side of the livestock, what did they do today?
The hogs front 3 months were down anywhere from 40 to $1.20. Deferred months were able to close a little bit higher. So again, just kind of been a dog day, or kind of been a dog market with the hogs. They have been selling and been a lot lower here towards the end of summer, demand slowing down, and also exports haven't been as great either. So just been a tough market for them to hopefully be able to turn around at some point here.
All right, if folks want to look at some of the market information you guys have, the intel you're following at agmarket.net, what's the best way to get those conversations going?
They can find us online at agmarket.net or give us a call here in the Wisconsin office at 608-384-5438.
All right, Aaron Thiele of agmarket.net's been our guest here today. Aaron, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.